Grab your sword! It's time for another review of Thunderbolt Fantasy. Welcome back to me reviewing Thunderbolt Fantasy Season 3. I don't have any special name for it, but yeah. This episode was really good. Lots of action, lots of plot, the return of Psycho Monk. Yeah, he's not dead. He was actually blasted away from the Magic Inc. I went back and watched season 2 finale after asking about it on Reddit. So, thanks to whoever helped me out there. So this episode begins right in the middle of the fight with Xinghai and the Mantis guy. I believe his name is Yi. So that is a good bit of action. I especially liked where Yi did that teleporting attack before tossing his scythes. Juan gets thrown into a tree and discovers one of the magical leaf portals. So he inadvertently activates it. For some reason, Shang knows what's going on, and he tells everybody to grab onto the kid, and they all get sucked into the portal, and they wind up in this weirdly orange dimension. So it does seem like Shang knows how they work, because as he was running towards Juan, he grabbed a portal leaf too, so they could make their way back if necessary. And it seems that even if it's broken apart into smaller pieces, it will still work. So Shang breaks the leaf into two pieces, so now they have two magic portals to jump through. But the problem is they don't know when it will activate and where it will activate to, so that may be a slight problem. So meanwhile, back in Seven Sins Tower, the centipede guy, I think his name is Wan? I'm still learning the names of the two new villains. He's all mad at Necro Bitch and Mantis Guy for letting our heroes escape, but Xinghai is all like, oh, don't worry, when they use a portal again, we'll be able to track them, because in most cases, multiple portals show the same thing. I don't know why that happens. Maybe it's a quirk of the portals that many activate to the same location simultaneously. Oh, and speaking about quirks, just a quick sidetrack, we're also doing Boku no Hero Academia reviews. So, be sure to check those out too. So we cut back to the leafy area and find our villain from last season, Luzen J, the Psycho Monk, who was not really possessed by seven blasphemous deaths, but more like some asshole overprotective boyfriend is like, you're the only one for me, seven blasphemous deaths, my princess. He had his arm chopped off, which happened at the end of last season. It got sucked into the sword index, and Seven Blasphemous Deaths really wasn't that talkative. So I'm not too sure if anything happened to her. Maybe we'll find out in later episodes. So Psycho Monk is all stumbling around, talking to Seven Blasphemous Deaths. He trips and falls, drops her, and as he's reaching around for her, he manages to inadvertently activate a portal. and he gets teleported into some area where he meets up with what I find one of the coolest design characters, Wei Dao Ten Gong. Yeah, I suck at pronouncing Chinese names. Crunchyroll, why can't you just sub it with the Japanese names? It would be so much easier for me. Um, Ten Gong has cyborg parts. It seems that he has a metal plate on the left side of his head with like some tubing and some cyborg eye. So that is cool. He's been trapped in that realm for the past 10 years and he's close to finding a way to escape. And he's promises he promises Lu Zhenji a new arm if he decides to work with him, which would be awesome because I love cyborgs and Psycho Monk was a dangerous villain. Just seeing him with a cybernetic arm will make it even more badass and kind of creepier because I'm not too sure what that cybernetic arm would be. If that would be like stronger than his old arm or what. So now we basically have three villains in this season: Psycho Monk, Necro Bitch, and Order of the Divine Swarm, I think they were called. Though the latter two are working together for the moment, I'm thinking they're going to separate once Xinghai reveals her true intentions, which I will get to a little bit later. Um, so back to the heroes. They're wandering through wherever they were sent to, and they wind up at some temple-ish looking location, and they get attacked by these humanoid creatures with like these blowguns that can shoot poison and fire. And I'm sure some of it was CGI fire because you can't have fire that close to puppetry, but that was awesome. Like just the fire blowing from the pipes and everybody flipping away and attacking. I think that was maybe the best scene this episode. So there's no way of telling exactly where they are, and with a red sky, they may not even be on Earth anymore, which is interesting that this can even send you to other planets. So, as they're talking about their current problem, they get attacked by more residents of the area. And Lynn suggests that it would be better to flee than fight. So they jump into the recently activated portal leaf to places unknown. So back at Seven Sins Tower, when the centipede discovers that the portals can take you literally anywhere, even to the demon realm, which, and I think I mentioned this last week, I think that Xinghai will potentially use the portal to the demon realm to reawaken the War of the Fading Dusk, I believe it was called. Um, so Wan draws his sword, ready to take out Xinghai, only to be told that Shane Company has been spotted. So he's forced to sheath his sword and wait for a different time to kill Xinghai. I think Wan has a cool looking sword. I've seen it in promo art, but now I'm seeing it in action, and it does look kind of like a centipede. It has like these little barbs on either side of it, kind of like all the legs of a centipede, which makes me wonder if all the members of the Order of the Divine Swarm have weapons based on their motif, because I know there were 6 of them. Maybe I'll go back and see if any of them are shown besides Moth, Mantis, and Centipede. Um, it just so happens that Yi is quite familiar with where they were teleported to. And you should too if you watched the second movie of Thunderbolt Fantasy, The Witching Melody of the West. So where they are is the Phoenix Light Palace. And everybody is in the courtyard except for Lang, who is within the halls of the palace. And who should show up but Xiao Fang. So the episode ends with Lin going behind a curtain and hiding from her. So if the teaser at the end leaves anything to believe, he'll be found out and Chow will potentially have him do some minstrelling for his life shit or something. I'm not quite sure if she reformed over the time we have seen her, because I think movie 2 took place like a few months to a year since the start of season 2. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, this was a really good episode. Nice bits of comedy slid in here and there. Nice action scenes. Nice villainous plotting. I'd be really interested to know what Gong is planning and if he will potentially be a villain down the line. If Seven Blasphemous Deaths will show up, because she is in the opening. Psycho Monk reaches for her and she turns into dust. So I'm not too sure what that is alluding to. And this season, we're back to having no closing theme, which is completely fine with me. I mean, Roll the Dice was nice, but just the battle theme overlaying the preview for next time as the ending credits roll, that's fine. That's fine. Um, yeah, I guess that's it for me this week. Um, so come back next week for a episode 3 review of Thunderbolt Fantasy. See everybody then.